Nothing can charge me anything. I had to go in anyway for a blood test. Bye.
The word Pontcysyllte can be translated as pont, meaning bridge, and Cysyllte translating to that which connects. So the word Pontcysyllte simply means the bridge which connects. Now the opening ceremony took place on November the 26th, 1805, in front of a crowd of 8,000, who sang God Save the King, and was followed by a 15-gun salute. Opening ceremony, 6 boats crossed the aqueduct. The first 2 contained a committee of dignitaries, including Thomas Telford himself. A band of the Shropshire Volunteers played in the third. Now, about halfway across, ladies and gentlemen, near the towpath, on the side of the towpath, you will see a handle at the base of the railings, and this is the plug for the aqueduct. It's necessary from time to time to empty the trough for maintenance. So in order to do this, the canal is dammed at both ends, and the plug is pulled, allowing the water to empty into the River Dee below.
I want to take a picture.
it opened principally for the pottery trade. It meant that they could bring in their clays and flints cheaply, any road use whatsoever, and send out the finished product by water, far safer way to do it. Our local salt producers took advantage of it as well. They could build their brine works next to the canal. Dig a hole, fingers crossed it fills with brine, bring in your coal to boil the brine on the narrowboats and send out the salt via the same method. So by the late 1770s, the canal and the river are in competition with each other. And in the first 2 years after the canal opened, the river lost 50%, sorry, let me try again, lost 25% of its trade in those first 2 years.
The city also became a fashionable centre for the rich and famous, many of whom chose to build their houses in the suburbs. This particular area, known as Borden, approximately 1 mile from the city centre, was just one of them. Today, many of the buildings have been split into apartments or taken over by various business concerns. This suburb was also very significant 2,000 years ago. The Romans of the day discovered natural water springs in the vicinity and pumped their supplies into the city by means of lead pipes and an aqueduct. Our modern city today takes some of its water supply from this same area. Shortly coming into view on the right-hand side and standing out very prominently is the lovely church of St. Paul. Between the church and the buildings below is a small lane known as Barrowell Hill. Today the lane is not visible from this viewpoint, but in medieval times it ran all the way down to the river's edge. To explain this strange name, one has to go back to that period and the practice of witchcraft. Ladies, under suspicion, were brought here, tied into a barrel and then rolled down the hill into the river. Should the lady subsequently drown, then she would be deemed innocent and already on her way to heaven. However, should she survive this ordeal, then she would be declared guilty, taken from the barrel and transferred to a place of execution, where she would then be hanged.
Area, but we just make sure that we do that when it's okay. Anyone else that wants to press the button, you're more than welcome.
heyday. There we go. So you've been on it, you've seen how it works, but it is a wonderful structure. There's nothing quite like it. There is the Falkirk wheel in Scotland, but there's nothing quite like it, you know. And a real sort of crazy, innovative way of transferring from the canal network to the River Weaver. They could have just built a load of locks, but that wouldn't have been anywhere near as much fun, would it? There we go. You won't know what Anderton is. I've mentioned volunteers a number of times and how integral they are to the running of the museum. This model was, or is, over 100 years old. And 100 years of being demonstrated and played with and messed about with it took its toll on it, and it just kept breaking down. Visitors do really like this model. Children like playing with it, children like pushing the buttons. One of our volunteers is an engineer, and from 2019 up until last year, he was able to recreate all of these pieces, the gears that you see at the top there, and replace them in order that we could have and take forward a functioning model that people could enjoy in the future. And he did all that for free, which is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Right, we're going to dip around this side.